Hello, beautiful people. It is me, Tasha K with Goddess Day, and today I am so excited to talk to you about how to conquer your financial trauma. And we're not just conquering financial trauma, but the reason that we want to look at that is so that we can become the financial powerhouses that we were really meant to be, that we were always meant to be, but then something happened. And so what we're going to look at today is what was it? What was it that happened that got in the way of you being the financial powerhouse that you were always meant to be? And if you look at the title, I know you said, we're conquering your financial trauma so that you can become a thousandaire. And thousandaire absolutely is not as sexy as millionaire, but what I know is that based on statistics, most Americans don't have $500 in the bank. So before we start thinking about millions, let's work on thousands and then tens of thousands and then hundreds of thousands. And then this very same content that we're talking about today, it'll get you to that millionaire status as well. So we're going to build up to that. So don't even worry. No matter where you are, this is going to help you get to that next level by looking at the financial trauma that you've experienced in your life and the impact that it has had on your relationship with money. Now, most of the time, people don't talk about financial trauma. Nobody wants to talk about what we've been through that has us be the way that we are with money. And so we just tell people, you need to stop spending and you need to stop budgeting and you need to do this and you need to do that. But what is it that makes those behaviors so difficult? Why is it that it seems like people sabotage their finances so often? Why is the default that people are not really great with money? Well, it's not by accident, and it's not just because people lack financial literacy. It's because people have experiences that have distorted their relationship with money. And so even though you don't hear people talking about financial trauma a lot, what you do hear people talking about is money mindset. Money mindset this and money mindset that. And where do you think the money mindset comes from? Your money mindset is a set of beliefs that impact how you experience money, how you relate to money in the world. That's what your money mindset is. But your money mindset didn't just spring up overnight and it didn't just come from nowhere. It came from a set of experiences that you went through when you were younger, before you were old enough to even realize what was happening, before you were old enough to decide for yourself what you really wanted your money mindset to be. And so you learned it from your parents, you learned it from your family, you learned it from society, in school, in community, on TV. All of these things worked together to help form your money mindset before you even knew what was going on. And have you noticed that most of the time, if you look at the money mindsets that are running people in the background, they are negative? Why is that? Why is it that most people have negative money mindsets that are impacting and influencing their financial behavior? Well, let me tell you, the reason for that is because for some reason, and I think it might have some type of evolutionary basis, but your brain amplifies negative emotion more than positive emotion. I don't know why this happens, but it absolutely does. So think about, let's look at your relationship or any relationship that you've had, right? Let's say your boyfriend brings you something to eat. He makes sure that you have dinner. And he usually do this most of the time. He makes sure when he comes to see you, he brings you something to eat. Now, let's say your boyfriend, and when he does, you're very grateful. You're like, oh, babe, thank you so much. And then one day he goes out, and while he's out, he eats something, and then he comes back, and you're like, wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that you went out and got you something to eat, but you didn't get me anything to eat? You didn't get me anything to eat? And now you're entertaining thoughts like, he doesn't care about me. He obviously doesn't love me because he went out and got something to eat without me. Never mind the fact that almost every single time that he was with you, he made sure that you were well fed. It's just that one time that he did that one thing. And now it's just it's consuming your thoughts and it's really having you experience a lot of negative emotion. Now, to be honest, I don't know if you guys are as dramatic as I am. If you're not, that's okay. But just think about, what happens when you experience a positive emotion. It's like, oh, that's so nice, and it's fleeting. But when you experience a negative emotion, something happens. And this is what turns a thought into a belief. When you experience a negative emotion, it doesn't just go away. Well, now you start to let it fester, right? Now you start to focus on it and put your attention there. Now you're thinking, well, if he really cared about me, wouldn't it make sense to think about me? And if he were thinking about me, wouldn't he have brought me something to eat? And why didn't he think about me? If he didn't think about me, then he must not really love me. And I don't know why I'm even entertaining somebody who would, not bring me something to eat, right? Again, I'm being dramatic, but the point is, you can see how something can go from being just a fleeting thought to being something that you're rehearsing over and over. And now you're starting to form a belief. And that belief is that people don't care about me. People don't do things for me. People don't love me. People don't provide for me. And now something that was just something that happened that one time becomes a belief. And so this is also what happens around money. And so what happens is, because of the experiences that you have gone through, most of the time negative, but not always negative, but those negative experiences lead you to experience some type of financial insecurity. And now that you're feeling financially insecure, is leading to negative thoughts and emotions. So let's look at what some of those negative emotions might sound like and where they might come from. All right, so you're young and you know how moms are, you know how they can be, you've seen the memes if you don't know how they can be, right? So you God forbid, you want some McDonald's and you ask your mom, hey mom, can we go to McDonald's? And your mom looks you dead in your face and she says, I'm sorry, but do you have McDonald's money? And what your mom is really saying is that, I'm sorry, I don't have money for McDonald's today. But that's not what she said. And now you're feeling like, I don't have McDonald's money. How come I don't have money? Why don't I have enough? Am I not enough? Am I not worthy of having McDonald's? Right? You don't realize it, but these are the thoughts that start to form in your head as you try to rationalize, why can't I have this McDonald's that I want? Or you ask your mom, can I have this? And your mom say, we got that at home. You got that at home. You don't need to go get that. And again, you're starting to think about, why can't I have the things that I want? What's wrong with me? Is it that I don't deserve it? Is it that I don't have enough money and we don't have enough money? And now you're starting to develop a mentality of lack, because you're experiencing so much lack and scarcity that it is spilling over into your mindset. Or let's say, your school is going on a trip and you came to your dad and you said, Dad, can I have some money to go on this trip? And your dad is like, didn't you just go on a trip last month? Do you and your teachers think money grows on trees? And now you're like, money doesn't grow on trees. Where does money come from? And wherever it comes from, how come I don't have any? And the thing is, you're not really thinking these thoughts out loud. You're not thinking them at the forefront. You're like, that made me feel like I'm not worthy. That made me feel like I'm not enough. That made me feel like money doesn't really belong to me. Money doesn't really like me. Money isn't really my friend. You're not thinking that on the surface. That is why it's so insidious. This is why we're always running around talking about the money mindset, because we can see the impact of the money mindset, but nobody is really talking about the financial trauma, because just because your mom said, we got food at home, or do you have McDonald's money, that's nothing insidious is going on there. But in a little mind, right, what is happening, the stuff that you can't see underneath the hood, inside the black box, something is happening there, and you are starting to create a financial narrative that revolves around lack and scarcity, and you don't even know it. So let's say, little Johnny, who is living in the neighborhood across the way, and he's with his mom, and he says, Mom, can I get an ice cream? And she says, sure, honey, go ahead. Or he's with his dad and he's like, Dad, I want to go to McDonald's. Can we go to McDonald's? And Johnny's dad is like, I don't really like McDonald's, but if that's what you want, sure. And Johnny starts to experience a relationship with money that makes him think money is available to me. Money is going to be there when I need it. Money is something that just, it's just there. All right. And so now as Johnny gets older, because he hasn't really developed a relationship with money that involves any type of management, now his money just comes and it goes and it comes and it goes, and there's no savings and there's no investing and there's no assets. And that can happen as well. So I wanted to give you that example because it's not just having a negative financial experience that leads to unhelpful mindsets. So there's always two sides of the same coin. So for example, I had a lot of negative experiences with money growing up, but what that made me say was that I don't want to experience that anymore. So let me do something different, right? So you never know how somebody is going to respond, but you absolutely want to start to look at what are the experiences that you've had with money and what did you make that mean? What did you start to believe as a result? And how is that impacting your life today? Okay, so hopefully that's making sense. Your money mindset is often the result of the financial traumas that you've experienced that nobody is even really talking about. And they might not even look like financial trauma on the surface, but something deep down is going on. And sometimes I call it, PTSD, PTPD, post-traumatic poverty disorder, because you get stuck in a financial cycle because of the experiences that you had, and you don't even know where they're coming from. You don't even know why you're experiencing those same financial cycles over and over again, but it's because of those things that are underneath the surface that nobody told you to look for. So if you want to know how do you start to conquer your financial trauma so that you can transform your finances and unleash the powerhouse that is within you, the financial powerhouse that is within you, because it is there. It's just a little bird but underneath all of those experiences that you had. So there are 4 steps to being able to transform your relationship with money. And the first thing that you want to do, I highly, highly recommend that you think about your most magnetic money memory. Don't skip this step, and don't think you don't need to identify what that magnetic money memory is for you. And when you're thinking about this, I want you to go back as early as you possibly can. And I want you to think about what is the most emotional experience that you can remember with money from the earliest age. So your earliest emotional memory around money. So for me, I remember when I was a little girl and my mom was taking me and my younger sister on the bus to go to a store. And I was so excited to be out with my mom. And I remember the day perfectly. The sun was shining. It was like beautiful, bright, sunny. And I remember it was so sunny and it was burning my scalp because my mom had did our hair. So my barrettes are clacking and my scalp is burning, and I'm so excited to be at the store with my mom and my sister. And we're about to walk into the store, and as we walk into the store, my mom stops us. She gets down on her knees and she says, "Don't touch nothing, don't look at nothing, don't ask for nothing, because you can't get nothing." And I remember that feeling of joy that I had in my heart. It just dropped into my stomach. And in that moment, my mom had no idea that she was completely transforming my relationship with money, where at first I'm experiencing joy and expectation just at the thought of companionship with my mom and sister. And now I get this stark message that I can't have anything. And as I think about it, I can still feel it right now, and it makes me feel really emotional that what I made that mean, right? In that moment, I made that mean that I'm not worthy of having the things that I want. I might be able to get the stuff that I need, but I can't have the things that I want. So I just need to stick to the basics and the necessities, because if it's something that I think is pretty, or if it's something that I think is, just something that would bring me joy, that's not something that I can have. I need something that's going to provide utility. And if you know me, you can see how to this day I have to force myself to do nice things for myself, because that conversation of, do you really need it? Are you really worthy? Is just lingering in the background. So that was my experience, and then that was what I made it mean. So I developed a mindset of scarcity that said money is not to be used for fun or for joy. Money is to be used for necessity. And you can see how sometimes that can be good because I saved a lot of money, but sometimes that can be bad because I missed out on a lot of experiences. Okay, so once you start to think about what was that early experience for you, and don't worry about if it's the perfect one. If it's an emotional experience, it'll do the job. So the second thing that you want to do, you want to name it. You want to write it down. You want to get it clear. You want to make sure that you understand what that experience is, and you should feel it in your body. Like I can feel it right now in my stomach, and I'm doing everything that I can to maintain my composure and not break down right now. And that's how deep that experience is, that it completely started to define a part of you, a portion of you. And now you want to write it down. So if I were to write it down, I would say something like, my money experience had me believe that I am not worthy of nice things, and that I'm not enough to have the things that I want. So once you write that down and you get it clear, so now you start to understand what you're dealing with, I want you to ball it up and throw it in the garbage, because this is not a mindset that we want to maintain. This is a mindset that we want to get rid of, and just balling it up is just a visual representation of that. So that's what you're going to do for number 2. Number 3, I want you to start creating financial transformation rituals. Now I'm gonna have a whole video on financial transformation rituals, but in this video I want to keep it simple and talk about 4 that I love. Number 1 is meditation. The point of meditation is to help you clear your mind of all the stuff that has been poured into you without your consent. So you just want to start to get clear that out. That's what meditation is for. Try to think about nothing. If you're bad at thinking about nothing, try to think about a positive thought that you want to hold, an intention that you want to hold. And it might be something so simple as, I am worthy. I am worthy. I am enough. And you just want to hold that thought and meditate on that thought, even for as little as 2 minutes. Also, affirmations like, I am worthy, I am enough. Or if you don't really feel worthy and you say, I am worthy, that's not really gonna work. But what you can say is something like, more and every day I see myself growing into the woman that I want to be, right? That's a little bit easier. You might not feel worthy, but every day you're trying, and every day I'm trying to be better. Every day I see myself becoming better, and that softens it a little bit, and you're like, yeah, that's true. I believe that. And and now it brings you from where you are, and it just pushes you a little bit forward. So meditation, affirmations, and one of my favorites, visualization. Yes, visualization, honey, is just use your imagination. So you got to see it before you can see it. And you just want to start to think about, like, see yourself having the things that you want. See yourself experiencing luxury. See yourself feeling worthy. Allow your body to really feel that emotion. Like, if you were having the things that you wanted and you knew you were worthy of having it, what would that feel like? What would that be like? And then finally, probably the easiest, the simplest that everybody could do, make a playlist. Make a playlist of songs that inspire you, that make you feel good, that help you to stand in those emotions that you want to be able to stand in consistently. And then number 4, absolutely do not skip number 4. Do your financial transformation ritual every day for 30 days. If you skip a day here and there, okay, but don't give up. A lot of times people think that, having the insight is enough. Like, I've discovered my magnetic money memory and now I've identified my financial trauma. Well, that's not enough if you're not practicing a new way of being. And just because you said, I want to feel worthy, that's not enough if you are not practicing the feelings of worthiness. So I really hope that this video helps you understand that you didn't get the way that you are overnight, and you're not going to transform your ways of being overnight, but it is absolutely possible for you to identify what are some of the experiences that led to some of your beliefs that have influenced your money mindset and your relationship with money. And once you have identified what those are, you can change them. You are not helpless. You are not hopeless. You are not powerless. You have the power to create your own financial story and to transform the trajectory of your entire life to create a new financial future. And don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Thank you guys so much. I absolutely love and adore you, and I am cheering for your financial success. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.